Have you been feeling tired all the time, no matter how much you sleep or rest? Do you wake up drained, your body aching, your heart heavy? What if I told you this fatigue isn't just physical? Many people overlook the signs, but Islam teaches us that the soul speaks through the body. And sometimes, what you think is simple tiredness is actually a spiritual signal, a call from Allah to realign your heart. You might be among the chosen ones, those who are being spiritually refined through unseen tests. This isn't weakness, it's a sign that your soul is going through something deeper. And if we ignore these signs, we risk missing the true message behind our struggle. In today's video on Merciful Deen, we'll uncover why your fatigue might be more than just stress, and how Islam gives you tools to recognize, respond to, and heal from it. Let's begin, inshallah. 1. Understanding the nature of physical fatigue. In Islam, the human being is seen as a profound combination of body, mind, and soul. When we feel tired, it's easy to assume it's just due to lack of sleep or physical strain. But the Islamic perspective invites us to look deeper. Fatigue, especially when persistent and unexplainable, may be a sign that something within the soul is unsettled. The body often reflects what the heart is carrying. Islam teaches that our physical condition can mirror our spiritual state. If the soul is overwhelmed by sin, neglect, sorrow, or spiritual distance from Allah, the body can begin to express this imbalance through exhaustion, heaviness, and a lack of motivation. It is not always an illness in the physical sense. Sometimes it is a spiritual call for awakening and reconnection. The Quran speaks of how human beings were created weak. Surah An-Nisa 4:28, which reminds us that weariness is a natural part of our design. But it also tells us that through remembrance, adhkar, the heart finds peace. Surah Ar-Ra'd 13:28, hinting that inner stability can influence outer strength. This balance between the body and the soul is essential in Islamic understanding. Fatigue can also be a result of overwhelming life pressures, grief, or unspoken burdens, and Islam recognizes emotional pain as valid and real. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam himself experienced moments of deep sorrow, exhaustion, and heaviness during trials. Yet, he turned to Allah for strength, not only spiritually, but even physically. This sets an example for us to follow. Therefore, if you're experiencing fatigue that doesn't improve with rest or medicine, consider this. It may be your soul calling you back to its creator. Don't ignore the signs. Your body might be speaking on behalf of your heart. 2. Signs that it's more than just tiredness. Not all tiredness is created equal. Sometimes what feels like physical exhaustion is actually a deeper spiritual imbalance. In Islam, subtle signs often appear before major spiritual disruptions occur. If you're experiencing certain patterns of fatigue, they may be clues that something beyond the physical is affecting you. One key indicator is persistent fatigue without explanation. If you've had proper rest, eat well, and don't have any known health condition, but still feel drained daily, this could be a warning. Your body might be reacting to a spiritual burden or disturbance that you haven't yet addressed. Another sign is sudden difficulty in performing acts of worship. If you're someone who normally prays on time or reads Quran regularly, but suddenly feel heavy, lazy, or uninterested without reason, this shift may not be normal. Shaitan often uses spiritual fatigue as a tool to distance a believer from acts of worship. Unusual emotional changes are also signs to consider. If you're feeling more irritated, anxious, or sad without a clear cause, your soul might be under pressure. You may even feel a heaviness on your chest or a fog in your mind, which makes it hard to concentrate or stay focused. Some people also report waking up tired even after sleeping well, or having frequent disturbing dreams or nightmares. While not all dreams are meaningful, constant dark or violent dreams can point towards spiritual imbalance or unseen influences. Lastly, a sudden increase in forgetfulness, confusion, or body aches, especially if you're spiritually active, could be signs of spiritual attack, such as evil eye or seer. Islam teaches us to recognize such signs early and take steps to protect ourselves. These signs are not meant to scare you. They are reminders to realign with Allah and seek His healing and protection. 3. Spiritual reasons behind the fatigue. Sometimes, the cause of exhaustion isn't physical or emotional, it's deeply spiritual. Islam teaches us that the unseen world plays a major role in our well-being. If you're feeling drained, despite a healthy lifestyle and peaceful surroundings, it's worth considering whether there are spiritual factors at work. One of the reasons could be that Allah has chosen you for a higher purpose. The closer a believer gets to Allah, the more tests they may face, not as punishment, but as purification. These tests can be internal battles, like a soul that's growing, shedding sins, or struggling to stay firm in a world full of distractions. Such a soul may experience intense fatigue, not because it's weak, but because it's transforming. Another possible cause is spiritual interference, such as the evil eye, nazar, black magic, seer, or jinn-related disturbances. Islam acknowledges these realities and warns us to be vigilant. These forces can create unexplained tiredness, sudden changes in energy, emotional instability, and even disinterest in prayer or Quran. When left unchecked, they begin to weigh heavily on a person's physical and spiritual state. Additionally, neglecting your soul's needs can lead to burnout. Just as the body requires food and rest, the soul needs nourishment through salah, Quran, dhikr, and sincere repentance. Without this spiritual intake, your inner self begins to weaken, leading to outward symptoms like exhaustion, restlessness, or lack of motivation. Lastly, the whispers of shaitan, waswasa, can also intensify fatigue by planting doubts, fear, and negativity in the heart. These thoughts drain your energy, making it harder to move forward in both faith and daily life. Recognizing these spiritual causes is the first step to reclaiming your strength, with the help of Allah and His guidance. 4. Islamic ways to diagnose and protect yourself. When you suspect that your fatigue may have a spiritual cause, Islam offers powerful and practical methods to diagnose and protect yourself. The first step is self-awareness and observation. Pay attention to patterns. When does the fatigue worsen? Do you feel heavier after salah time? Do you struggle only during Quran recitation or feel agitated when hearing adhkar? These are signs that your fatigue may not be physical, but linked to spiritual resistance or interference. The next step is to begin self-ruqyah. This involves reciting specific verses from the Quran and prophetic supplications, du'as, to seek Allah's protection and healing. Verses like Surah Al-Fatiha, Ayat Al-Kursi, 2:255, and the last three quls, Al-Ikhlas, Al-Falaq, and Nas, are central to ruqyah. Recite them over yourself daily, especially after Fajr and before sleeping. One powerful method of protection is the morning and evening adhkar, remembrances. These are a set of du'as taught by the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam that serve as a spiritual shield. When recited with belief and consistency, they protect against harm from jinn, evil eye, and negative energy. Unfortunately, Many Muslims overlook this daily habit, yet it is one of the strongest defenses given to us. You can also use olive oil, black seed oil, and Zamzam water, recommended in Hadith, along with recitation for healing. Applying or drinking these with the intention of shifa, healing, can be spiritually beneficial. If symptoms persist or worsen, it's wise to consult a trusted Islamic scholar or ruqyah practitioner, someone who follows the Quran and Sunnah, not cultural superstitions. Protection in Islam is not just spiritual, but also mental and emotional. Begin with trust in Allah, stay committed to worship, and use the tools given in the Deen. Healing always starts with His permission. 5. Turning fatigue into spiritual strength. Spiritual fatigue, though challenging, can become a powerful turning point in your journey toward Allah. In Islam, every hardship carries hidden mercy. When you feel drained, it may actually be a sign that Allah is calling you to pause, reflect, and realign your soul. Instead of resisting the fatigue, you can choose to transform it into spiritual growth. Start by embracing sabr, patience. Allah mentions in the Quran, "Indeed, Allah is with the patient." Surah Al-Baqarah 2:153. Your physical weakness doesn't mean failure. It means you have been given an opportunity to rely more deeply on your Creator. Sometimes, when your body slows down, your heart finally becomes still enough to hear the whispers of guidance. Use this time of fatigue to simplify your worship, but make it more meaningful. Even if you can't stand long in salah, pray while sitting, with focus and humility. If your energy is low for reading lengthy passages, just repeat short surahs with deep reflection. Islam values sincerity over quantity. A heavy heart that remembers Allah sincerely weighs more than empty rituals done in haste. Also, engage in quiet acts of ibadah like tawbah, repentance, shukr, gratitude, and deep tadabbur, reflection on the Quran. These inner forms of worship often bring more spiritual clarity and healing than we expect. Ask Allah for strength in your dua, with full belief that He hears you and responds. Surround yourself with dhikr, positive company, and reminders of Allah's mercy. Let the fatigue soften your ego and increase your dependence on Him. In truth, your weakness is a doorway to divine strength. As you shift your mindset from frustration to surrender, your soul begins to heal, and with it, your energy may return, brighter and stronger than before. Dear brothers and sisters, if you've been facing this unexplained fatigue, know that you are not alone. And more importantly, you are not forgotten. Allah sees your struggle, and He is closer to you than you realize. Let this tiredness draw you nearer to Him, not further away. May Allah grant you strength, peace, and healing, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. If this video helped you, please like, share, and subscribe to Merciful Deen for more Islamic reminders. Comment below, Ya Allah, replace my weakness with your strength. Let that be your prayer today.